Let me ask you a question. When you're bored, and I mean really bored, what's the very first thing you do? Is it going for a walk? Is it picking up a book? Is it working on something you've been putting off for weeks? Yeah, we both know the answer. It looks something like this. And honestly, I get it. I was the same way. Every single time there was even a moment of silence, waiting for food, waking up in the morning, and the phone was already in my hand before I even realized it. Just scrolling, endlessly, mindlessly, going through videos and posts and reels of people I don't even know living lives I wasn't living. And the crazy part? I didn't even enjoy it. I wasn't learning anything. I wasn't laughing. I wasn't feeling anything, really. I was just there, existing on someone else's highlight reel, while my own life was just sitting there waiting for me to show up. And I think a lot of us are stuck in that exact same loop right now. Social media started out as this incredible thing, a way to connect, to share, to feel like you're part of something bigger. And in a lot of ways, it still is. But somewhere along the way, it flipped. It stopped being something we used and started being something that used us. So let me ask you a question, and I want you to actually think about this one. If you had the chance, a real chance, to live your life completely free from social media, no Instagram, no YouTube shorts, no Reels, no Twitter, nothing, would you do it? Because a few months ago, if someone asked me that, I would have laughed, like genuinely laughed. My entire life was on there. My friendships, my entertainment, my identity almost. But now my answer is very different. So it all started when I got my first phone. And honestly, at first it was just fun. I was talking to friends, posting random stuff, following people who made me laugh. It genuinely felt like this cool new world that I was finally a part of. And I loved it. I really did. But somewhere in between all of that, I don't even remember exactly when, something shifted. I started waking up, and the first thing I'd do before even getting out of bed was grab my phone. Not to text someone specific, not to check something important, just to scroll, just to see what was happening in everyone else's life, while mine hadn't even started yet that day. And it didn't stop there. Whenever I got home, scroll. Whenever I was eating, scroll. Whenever there was even 5 seconds of silence where nothing was happening, phone out, scrolling. It became this automatic thing. Like my brain didn't even ask permission anymore. It just did it. And the worst part? It wasn't even enjoyable scrolling. I wasn't excited, I wasn't learning, I wasn't feeling anything good. I was just consuming endlessly. And then came the comparing, seeing someone my age already doing something incredible with their life. And there I was, lying in my bed at midnight, phone in my face, feeling this heavy, uncomfortable feeling in my chest that I couldn't even name properly at the time. But now I know exactly what it was. It was the feeling of wasting my life. And the scary thing is I knew it was a problem. Somewhere deep down I knew. But because everyone around me was doing the exact same thing and it felt normal, it felt fine, it felt like just how life is now. But it wasn't fine, and it kept getting worse. There came this one point where I just stopped and looked at myself, like really looked. And I asked myself, what am I actually doing? What am I building? What am I working towards? What have I done today that actually mattered? And I couldn't answer. I genuinely could not answer that question. And that hit me harder than anything else ever had, because time was passing. Days were blurring into each other. Weeks were disappearing, and I had nothing to show for it except hours and hours spent watching other people live their lives while I just sat there watching. And I remember thinking, well, if I keep going like this, where does this end? Who do I become? What does my life look like 5 years from now if I don't change anything? And I didn't like the answer. So I made a decision, not a dramatic one, not some big announcement, just a quiet personal decision that enough was enough, that my time was worth more than this, that I was worth more than this, and I decided to step back. The first few days were honestly strange, because suddenly I had all this time and I had no idea what to do with it. My hand kept reaching for my phone out of pure habit. I'd unlock it and just stare at it because the apps weren't there anymore. And there was this uncomfortable silence that I wasn't used to at all. But then something interesting happened. I got bored, genuinely properly bored. And for the first time in a long time, I had to actually sit with that boredom instead of immediately running away from it. And that boredom, as uncomfortable as it was, started turning into something else. Curiosity, creativity, This quiet space in my head where actual thoughts could finally exist. I started doing things I had completely forgotten I loved. I picked up things I had been saying I'll do that someday about for months. I started going outside more. I started sleeping better. I started actually being present in conversations instead of half listening while mentally thinking about what to post next. And my energy completely changed. I didn't wake up already exhausted from consuming everyone else's life before my day even started. I woke up and my morning was actually mine, quiet, calm, peaceful, and that feeling alone was worth everything. Then there was the FOMO, the fear of missing out. And I won't lie, it was real at first. I kept thinking, what if something happens and I don't know about it? What if people forget about me? What if I become irrelevant somehow? But then days passed, weeks passed, and I realized I wasn't missing anything that actually mattered. I was missing trends that died in 3 days. I was missing drama between people I barely knew. I was missing content that I would have scrolled past and forgotten in 30 seconds anyway. The things that actually mattered, my real friendships, the people who genuinely cared. None of that went anywhere. Real connections don't live or die based on whether you like someone's story. And the biggest change of all was my mental health. I stopped comparing, and I didn't even realize how much of my mental energy was being eaten alive by comparison until it was finally gone. I stopped measuring my life against everyone else's highlight reel. I stopped feeling that heavy, uncomfortable feeling in my chest every time I opened an app. And I started actually enjoying my own life, the small things, a good meal, a good conversation, a quiet evening. Things that used to feel boring suddenly felt genuinely good because I was finally present for them. And I realized, well, most of what I was seeing on social media wasn't even real anyway. People performing happiness for an audience. People posting their best moment from a day that was otherwise completely ordinary. It was all a highlight reel, and I had been comparing my entire reality to someone else's best 5 seconds. Here's what I think nobody really wants to say out loud. Social media isn't evil. It was never the villain. At its core, it's an incredible thing. Connection, community, creativity, all of it. But the way most of us actually use it, it's slowly robbing us of something we can never get back. Our time, our attention, our ability to just sit with ourselves and be okay with it. Look around you, honestly. Really look. Kids on their phones instead of playing outside. Friends sitting together in the same room, all staring at separate screens. Couples at dinner not saying a word to each other because the scroll is more interesting than the person sitting right in front of them. And the scariest part is that it doesn't feel like a problem because everyone is doing it. It feels normal. It feels like just how life is now. But normal doesn't mean okay, because life, real life, is happening right now. Outside your screen, in the conversations you're half present for, in the mornings you're wasting scrolling before you even get out of bed, in the small, quiet moments that you're constantly running away from instead of just living in. Stepping back from social media reminded me that there is so much life to be lived outside of a phone screen, that the most important moments don't get posted, that real joy doesn't need an audience, and that the present moment, this one right here, is the only one that actually exists. So let me ask you one final time. If you could live a life completely free from social media, would you? Because every second you spend thinking about it is another second of your real life passing by. And one day, not today, maybe not tomorrow, but one day you're going to look back at all these hours, all these years, and you're going to wish you had chosen differently. Don't let that day come too late.